What's up, fantasy managers? Welcome back to another episode of the First Pitch Podcast brought to you by PitcherList.com. My name is Jake Crumpler, and I'll be your host for this edition of the podcast. You can follow me on Twitter at Jake Crumpler, and you can find all of my work at crumplerbaseball.com. Let's dive into everything baseball related from Sunday, April 6th. We'll start things off, as always, with the transactions, injuries, news, and notes from around the league, starting it off with the bad news, as starting pitcher Nestor Cortes was placed on the 15-day IL with a left elbow strain. He had an MRI earlier last week that revealed nothing, so the IL placement is sort of curious. His elbow was still sore, though, after his last start, so this is somewhat of a precautionary IL stint. He is seeking a second opinion, but Cortes is not concerned. However, the timeline will become more clear after he receives that second opinion. Grant Wolfram was recalled from the minors in a corresponding move, though he's likely to pitch out of the bullpen, though that rotation in Milwaukee is hurting right now with Cortes now on the IL. They're also missing Aaron Ashby, Aaron Savali, Robert Gasser, DL Hall, Tobias Myers, and Brandon Woodruff. All of those guys are on the injured list, and now Nestor Cortes joins them. We'll see what the Brewers do to address this ailing rotation. Next, we have starting pitcher Blake Snell, who was placed on the 15-day IL with left shoulder inflammation. He immediately went on the IL after being bothered by his shoulder following his last start. It seems somewhat precautionary here by the Dodgers, but this is definitely what you have to expect with not only somebody as injury prone as Blake Snell, but somebody like him pitching for the Dodgers. They are not shy with their IL stint. So Blake Snell is expected to have a lot of these throughout the year and throughout his contract with the Dodgers. So here's the first one, first of many. Snell to the IL. 15-day IL with shoulder inflammation. Matt Sauer was recalled from the minors in a corresponding move. This is similar to the Brewers move. He's going to pitch out of the bullpen, so we'll see a corresponding move in the future. They got a lot of guys on the 40-man roster in the minor leagues. Landon Knack and Bobby Miller are probably the first two options to replace Snell directly in the rotation, though it's only going to be for one or two turns through the rotation. So we'll see if they can establish themselves once they get that opportunity. Our last IL placement involves catcher Ivan Herrera, who was placed on the 10-day IL with left knee inflammation. Test came back clean, so structurally he is fine, and the Cardinals were saying that this could have been a lot worse. So not too bad news here with Herrera, though he is going on the IL. Yohel Pozo is expected to have his contract selected from the minors in a corresponding move, but Pedro Pajes should see the majority of the time behind the plate for the Cardinals, while Herrera is on the injured list. Now we'll take a look at our transactions from Sunday, starting it off with starting pitcher Chase Dollander, who officially had his contract selected from the minors by the Rockies. He was the 9th overall pick in 2023 and is currently the number 1 Rockies prospect and the number 24 prospect in baseball. Dollander made his MLB debut on Sunday versus the A's, tossing 5 innings, allowing 7 hits and 4 earned runs. He walked 1 while striking out 6, inducing 10 whiffs with 24% CSW across 79 pitches. He pumped a 98-mile-per-hour fastball throughout the game, topping out at nearly 100 miles per hour, and showed some decent secondaries with a cutter, a curveball, and a change ability to take down both lefties and righties. Unfortunately, he pitches for the Rockies, will pitch most of his games in Coors, so I think that has me staying away from him. I could see in the future him taking off or becoming one of these pitchers that eventually succeeds in Coors, but I doubt that's going to be in his debut campaign. I think you can stay away in shallow standard leagues, 12-teamers, but maybe take a chance in 15-teamers because he's got the stuff to succeed. He just pitches for a terrible organization and a terrible ballpark. The Rockies will make another promotion as well on Monday, as outfielder Zach Veen will have his contract selected. Actually, it's going to be on Tuesday officially because the Rockies do not play on Monday. Veen was the 9th overall pick in 2020, and he's the number 8 Rockies prospect. He's sort of a post-hype guy. His prospect star has fallen as he's never been able to deal with the strikeout numbers that have caused him troubles throughout his rise through the minor leagues. But he will take over every day in a corner outfield for the Rockies. Right now, Moniak is in left field and Nick Martini's in right field. So I'd expect Veen to take over in right field moving forward for the Rockies. Next, we have outfielder Mike Tauchman, who was activated from the 10-day IL by the White Sox. He was out with a hamstring injury, and he'll be leading off on the strong side of a platoon in right field for the White Sox moving forward. That's Mike Tauchman, activated from the 10-day IL. Next, we have catcher Sean Murphy, who was activated from the 10-day IL as well. He was dealing with a rib injury. He didn't start in his return, which I don't know if they're just taking it easy or if this is something to read into, but I would expect Murphy to see the majority of playing time over Drake Baldwin behind the plate for the Braves. And our last transaction we'll discuss is first baseman Vladimir Guerrero Jr., who signed a 14-year, $500 million extension with the Blue Jays. There is no deferred money in the deal, making it the second largest contract in baseball history in terms of present value, behind only Juan Soto's contract with the New York Mets. Pretty cool. Vladdy will be in Toronto for the rest of his career for $500 million. Pretty cool. Lastly, we'll wrap things up with our news. We've got third baseman Josh Young, who is dealing with a neck injury. He's expected to be activated from the 10-day IL on Tuesday, so the Rangers will get their third baseman back in just a couple days. And lastly, outfielder Victor Robles, who's dealing with a shoulder injury, is expected to be placed on the 10-day IL on Monday or Tuesday. Not quite sure yet. We'll see what happens with that and what the corresponding moves are, but adjust accordingly with Robles heading to the IL. Now we'll take a look at the notable performances from Sunday, a day in which we had a full slate of 15 games, thanks to a doubleheader between the Cardinals and the Red Sox, as the Marlins and Braves matchup was postponed. We'll start things off with our hitters, leading off with Kyren Paris, who helped the Angels to win versus the Guardians, going 2 for 4 with 2 runs, a home run, an RBI, and a steal to complete the combo meal. He's up to 2 homers and 4 steals on the season already. This homer traveled 434 feet at 107 miles per hour, so it wasn't a cheap shot. Paris clearly showing some power on Sunday. He's not playing every day, but Paris can play second base, shortstop, and center field, or at least that's what he's played this year. I assume he can play the corner outfield as well. He's mostly a speed play, as he's throughout the minors wasn't a real offensive threat, but maybe these gains, if they're real, I think he's somebody that could be rostered all over the place with the power speed combo he's displayed early on. I'd still wait a little bit in shallower leagues to jump on Paris right now, because he doesn't have that everyday role and he doesn't have a history of being an offensive threat. But like I said, if this continues, I think he's going to be somebody that needs to be rostered everywhere right now. I'd probably get him in deep leagues, definitely AL only leagues. Next, we have Jake Meyers, who helped the Astros to win in Minnesota, going 1 for 2 with 2 runs, a double, 3 walks, and 2 steals. Those were his first 2 steals of the season. And the interesting thing about Meyers is that he's getting the majority of playing time in center field for the Astros, which has McCormick on the bench, which, I would have thought that those two would be flip-flopped, but Meyers is taking advantage of the playing time here. He was 13 homers, 11 steals last year, so clearly some power and speed, but I think Meyers is really only an option in deep leagues. He's batting at the bottom of that Astros order, and it's not a clear everyday playing time in center field. He's ceding some time to McCormick in center, so I don't think he's quite worth rostering in deeper leagues, though Meyers, with his ability to hit for some power and steal some bases, makes him worth rostering in deeper leagues. And lastly, we've got Nick Castellanos, who helped the Phillies to win versus the Dodgers, going 1 for 4 with a run, a home run, and 4 runs batted in. It was his second home run of the year, and it traveled 389 feet at 104 miles per hour. And anytime Nick Castellanos homers, you have to wonder if something bad happened. I looked around, and really the only thing that I could think of is that I lost my softball game today. So thank you, Castellanos, for the shout out. But I don't think anything's really changed with Castellanos in terms of fantasy. From a fantasy perspective, he's a great run producer, batting in the middle of that lineup, playing every single day, but he's not going to be a league winner. He's not somebody that's going to have the performances he's had in years past, where he had super high BABIPs and was batting well over 300, getting close to 30 homers. I think he's going to be a 25 homer guy who bats 260, but he's got great run producing numbers. So he's going to be worth rostering all over the place, but don't expect like a huge season, a huge breakout from Castellanos like we've seen in the past. But that'll do it for our batters. If you'd like a breakdown of other notable hitting performances from Sunday, check out the daily Batters Box article over on pitcherlist.com. Now we'll head to the mound and check out some notable starting pitching performances, opening with Andrew Heaney, who helped the Pirates to a win versus the Yankees, tossing 7 innings, allowing 5 hits and 1 earned run. He walked 1 while striking out 10, inducing 16 whiffs with 38% CSW across 100 pitches. And he had a new curveball in this one, and it was the star of the show. It had plus 8 miles per hour on it, going from 70 to 78 miles per hour, and it had more traditional 12 to 6 break, more vertical and less horizontal break, and it was a beast in this one. 6 whiffs for 65% CSW on the curveball for Heaney. The heater and change did their thing as well, and they combined for 7 whiffs and 31% CSW. This is pretty interesting from Heaney. He's sort of been the same thing throughout his career, but maybe if this curveball with its new shape can be something new, can be a weapon like it was on Sunday, then maybe he is worth your attention in shallower leagues. He gets the Reds in Cincinnati next, and despite taking down the Yankees, I'm sort of on the fence about that one. But if you are desperate, I think early in the season it's sort of risky. But if you're desperate and you feel confident after seeing this new curveball from Heaney, maybe you take the chance there. Next, we have Kris Bubic, who helped the Royals to a win versus the Orioles, tossing 6 2/3 innings, allowing 5 hits and 1 earned run. He walked 1 while striking out 8, inducing 16 whiffs with 36% CSW across 99 pitches. The fastball down to 92 miles per hour for Bubic, which is down only a half a mile per hour. He was at 93 in the spring, so still around there, but the pitch still thrived, and that's all we really want to see. It had 4 whiffs and 30% CSW, but it was really the changeup in this one. He had a great feel for that pitch, and that's really the pitch that drives his success, and I think will be the key to his success for the entirety of the season. But the changeup for Bubic in this one, 8 whiffs, 50% CSW, and he also threw a slider and sweeper, which worked to neutralize lefties. I think he's got a pretty deep arsenal. I think he's got to be rostered universally at this point. His first couple starts of the season have been dominant, and I think Bubic, you need to go pick him up. He gets the Guardians next in Cleveland, and I think that's start I'm fine with sending Bubic out there for. And lastly, we have Kumar Rocker, who took on the Rays and helped the Rangers to win, tossing 5 innings, allowing 6 hits and 1 earned run. He walked nobody while striking out 1, inducing 4 whiffs with 14% CSW across 77 pitches. Rocker shelved the 4-seamer in this one, going 83% sinker slider. Definitely a different approach for him in this one. The slider had 3 whiffs, but clearly not a complete pitcher. The 4 whiffs and 1 strikeout should tell you as much. I don't think he needs to be rostered in 12-teamers, though he does get the Mariners next in Seattle. Maybe that's a fine stream, but I don't think Rocker is somebody you're going to want to roster, at least in standard leagues throughout the season. But if you'd like a breakdown of every single start from Sunday, give the Plus Pitch podcast a listen and check out Nick's daily SP roundup over on pitcherlist.com. And now we'll close things out now we'll head to the bullpen and check out the closers that got saves and the closers that pitched outside of save situations or blew their saves. Starting with the former, Edwin Diaz got his 2nd save with a perfect 9th. Robert Suarez got his 4th save with a perfect 9th. Victor Vodnik got his 1st save, recording the final 5 outs of the ball game. He allowed a run, but this was a situation where the Rockies were up 12-5 in the 9th, so there was no reason for them to bring in Halverson. Kyle Finnegan recorded his 3rd save with a scoreless 9th. Cooper Criswell recorded his 1st save with a 3-inning save for the Red Sox in the latter half of their doubleheader. He tossed 3 innings, allowing 4 hits and 5 runs, 3 of which were earned, walking 1 while striking out none. So, not the best outing here from Criswell, but he still got the save. Jose Alvarado got his 2nd save. He pitched a perfect 9th. Jordan Romano pitched the 6th or the 7th. I think he was not good. I think Alvarado's got a clear hold on this job. And lastly, Carlos Estevez got his 2nd save with a perfect 9th. Now we'll check out the closers to pitch outside of save situations or blow their saves, starting with Ryan Presley, who took his 1st loss thanks to an error in the 9th inning. Ryan Helsley blew his 1st save, allowing 2 runs in the 9th. Aroldis Chapman earned his 2nd win, pitching a hitless 10th. Devin Williams took his 1st loss, allowing a 10th inning walk-off. Dennis Santana pitched a perfect 8th up by 3. Ryan Borucki pitched the 9th, and he blew the save. So I think that gives more points for Dennis Santana here for the closer role in Pittsburgh. Yohan Duran pitched the 8th. He was perfect in that one, and the Twins were up by 2, so they let Griffin Jacks blow the save in the 9th. I think this is another situation where Duran is going to continue to get some more points if he pitches well in the 8th and people continue to blow saves in the 9th. I think Duran will continue to be trusted in the 9th in this case. Next, Josh Hader pitched a perfect 9th and 10th to earn his first win. Pete Fairbanks pitched a perfect 8th in a tie game. And lastly, Kenley Jansen pitched a perfect 9th up by 4. The Angels scored an insurance run in the 8th, so he was in line for a save up until that. But if you'd like some more information on relievers, make sure to check out Rick Graham's weekly articles over on pitcherlist.com. And before we look forward to today's games, we're going to take a quick break. And we're back. Now we can look forward to Monday, April 7th, a day in which we'll have 11 games on the slate. My matchup of the day is Hunter Green versus Logan Webb. Green has been electric this year, building off of last year. His fastball is dominant, and Logan Webb is always fun to watch with a deep arsenal and playing for my Giants. So it should be a fun game there in San Francisco. In terms of probable starters, we've got 10 guys in our auto starts tier, including both Green and Webb. We've got Garrett Crochet versus the Blue Jays, Logan Gilbert versus the Astros, and Michael King in the A's home ballpark. And in terms of, we've also got 2 guys in our probably starts tier, including our streamer of the day, Hayden Wesneski, who takes on the Mariners in Seattle. Wesneski didn't show a lot of his sweeper last time out, but that is his calling card. He's got a pretty deep arsenal, but he's taking on the Mariners in Seattle, and that's a great place to stream. So go pick him up. I'd also keep an eye out for Simeon Woods Richardson, who takes on the Royals in Kansas City. This is not my favorite matchup, though. He is a Toby. He could go out there and toss 6 innings, get you a quality start. We'll see how long the Twins let him go in this one. In terms of hitter suggestions, I go for Mets hitters versus the Marlins. They have a TBD right now for their starter, so I think the Mets hitters will be able to take advantage of whatever unprepared starter goes out there for the Marlins on Monday. I'd also look at Cardinals hitters versus Carmen Mlodzinski and the Pirates. Their pitching staff has not been great. Mlodzinski is a converted starter. He was a former reliever. He hasn't been great thus far as a starter, so I think I'd target Cardinals hitters to take advantage of that and their ailing bullpen. But that'll do it for our hitter starters. Now we can close things out with our relievers to watch. Yohan Duran has pitched on back-to-back days because, of course, he has. So Griffin Jack should be in line for a save on Monday. Edwin Diaz has pitched on back-to-back days, so Ryan Stanek or AJ Minter could be in line for a save. Kyle Finnegan has pitched back-to-back, but so have Jorge Lopez and Jose Ferrer. So maybe we get Lucas Sims or Eduardo Salazar getting the 9th on Monday for the Nationals. And lastly, Dennis Santana has pitched on back-to-back days, but so have both Caleb Ferguson and Ryan Borucki. So maybe Justin Lawrence gets a save. I will lose my mind on In the Pen if Justin Lawrence gets a save. But that'll do it for today's episode of the First Pitch Podcast. Make sure to head on over to pitcherlist.com to check out all of the great articles and features we have on the site. Sign up for PL Plus or PL Pro to gain access to the Discord and to support the Pitcher List staff. You can follow me on Twitter at Jake Crumpler. Tune in live on YouTube tomorrow and every day for a new installment of the podcast. And make sure to enjoy the day as we are blessed with another day of baseball.